through, fumbling through, fumbling through, fumbling through, fumbling through.
What's new, pussycats, ponies, and pelicans, and welcome to Fumble Through!
Fumble Through! Whoa.
A podcast that recently got neutered and now has to wear a cone around its head. It's that time again where we spend some time in the Fumble Factory playing make-believe and ignoring the responsibilities of our real lives. Come escape from the humdrum with us. And if you like hearing us beat our drum...
There's a really good Facebook group where we like to chat and talk about stuff. There is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram that you can do stuff, or buy us a drink on Buy Me a Coffee that is linked on all our social media pages.
Is that actually linked on our social media pages already? Sweet.
Thanks for buying me this coffee.
Keep the coffee
I
rolling.
Really appreciate the coffee.
It's episode 40 today, and that means that this is the 40th time we have sat together and talked about some really geeky things. And if you're 40 and want to talk about some geeky things or suggest some questions, hit us up on social media and don't forget to use the hashtag Dicey Questions. This week's Dicey Question was actually inspired by a conversation I had with a group of players, and it goes a little something like this. Entertain us with your best BBEG takedown story. I want to hear that time that you went to the big bad evil guy and you took him down.
All I heard you say in entertain us was the word anus.
Well, if that's how you took him down.
I got one.
Yeah, look.
My role-playing experience is somewhat limited. Just in case anybody's jumping in at episode 40 and hasn't had the 39 previous shocking events of my performance around this table. My first game that I joined, which was a mad game, there was an encounter towards the end of the actual game that we played before we moved on to something else where I took out a dragon. I one-shot a dragon.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was.
I remember that.
Yeah.
How did you one-shot it?
Well, we played in the system. We in that particular game we were playing where if you rolled a 20, you critted it, you got to roll another, and if you critted it again, you kept stacking up the damage.
Crits.
Yeah, and I just so happened that I managed to roll, I think, about 3 crits. So the amount of damage I pumped out on that character, which is a significant amount of damage anyway, just ended it pretty much in one go. It turned up at the cliff face. We were in a cave. It flew in through the front of the cave on the cliff face, and I just one-shotted it, and that was it.
Wicked.
Done.
What have you got? Lindsay, you got something?
There's only been really like one. We're doing Rise of the Rune Lords. Justin was DMing. And we're fighting a big giant guy, and it was one of the bosses that we'd been leading up to. And it had a mace of disintegration, disintegration stored in it.
Yeah.
And Luke got disintegrated.
Yeah.
My character got disintegrated, and everyone was like down.
Yeah.
And Brett was our healer, and he's just kiting this giant around, running past the fighter, casting a heal spell. This giant's just chasing him, and suddenly loops back around to where the fighter's now recovered health. And the fighter manages to kill him. It's great.
Yeah. There is a moment where you go away for a weekend to play a role-playing, and on the first full day, you wipe out most of the party. It was a
disaster. It was a disaster.
Pall on the rest of the weekend at that point.
There's nothing worse than when you go on a weekend away and then you spend a good hour or two sat on a sofa while everyone else is playing the game because you're fucking
you've
dead.
been disintegrated. No disintegration.
And then the next 3 hours trying to figure out a character really quickly.
Yeah, a really badly thought through character. What about you, Brett? What stories have you got for us?
I was thinking about that one, but then there was another one on the same campaign that Luke was talking about. My character, Jack, kind of was very charismatic, and he had these great boots on him that let him pop around this battlefield. And then one of our other players had this huge creature that would bite their heads off, that kind of stuff. I remember being grappled by the big bad, and he was a really bad dude. He set up as a really bad dude. And King Jack looked him in the eye, kissed him on the forehead and went, "Now you're fucked," and poured it out there and swapped places with the guy who bit heads off, and that guy bit this bad guy's head off and took him out. I remember that moment quite vividly. It was really, really fun. Go on, Justin.
Well, mine's not my story exactly. Again, I'm going to tell a story from a GM's perspective. So I've GM'd a couple of games in my time, and I'm going to go back to a game that we played in the 3.5 era of Dungeons and Dragons. And we were sitting around, and I had created this whole world where we had a conflagration of elementals that was every version of an elemental. So it was water, earth, air, and fire all put together. And I spent 2 weeks probably designing designing a bad guy, which was a giant dragon that they would fight on this mesa rooftop. They'd get up a mountain, get to the top of it, and then they get there, and Brett, because he's a cockhead, decides to steal the strength of the dragon until it is lying there like a baby, because in those days you could drag all of the strength. It dragged so much of its strength it couldn't move, and then they just walked up to it and killed it. And I was like, this was 3 rounds, and I was like, I worked weeks on this adventure. I'd carved tiles, I had made things out of clay, I had worked on this creature, and it's just like, oh yeah, no, I'm just going to sap his strength, and then that ray of enfeeblement
with
was
no limit on it was great.
Whether we played it properly
Touch
or
attack,
not, it was
whatever.
a great moment though. It was so disappointing for me, but such a nice moment of just using the rules against the world and just going, well, that's how that rolls.
That is a theme with some of your big boss fights that you've put time in. I wasn't here for the Hydra, but the Hydra was one I heard about where you built heaps of time on a Hydra and it
That was
went down
great.
really quick.
Oh, Pyro Hydra that lasted 1 and a bit rounds.
And then
Came in, had a
What about
surprise
the- what-
attack,
what was
and
the
then
one-
within a round, dead.
What was the one that came out of the water that I blinded with my radiant light?
No,
coming out?
there's too many.
Yeah, Lindsay's right. There was a stint there of about a few weeks where it almost happened on a weekly basis.
Yeah, there was another one after the Hydra as well on my first games. I cannot remember what it is now.
Maybe I'm just a shit GM. Don't.
Judge for yourself.
I was going to
people.
say, let's
Judge
just
for
start a
yourself.
poll on the Facebook.
Don't. I knew I just opened myself up to that.
Look, what I know is whenever I listen to people talk about their times at the table, I love listening to them telling me what they rolled on a dice and how that affected the bad guy in front of them.
So where we left it last week, we had gone up to this slaughterhouse. You'd explored around, you'd had a look, you found a ramp that seemingly was the best way to get into the actual abattoirs itself. Flopsy had slid down the ramp, triggered a trap, almost got slaughtered himself, but escaped the worst of it. Opened up some portcullis. Then at that point, you went inside the abattoir and we began what's going to be a magnificent adventure that I'm really excited by. And then you needed to cast light. As soon as you did so, you saw 2 evil-looking goblins just staring at you with horse choppers in hand, just blood and guts all over them. They are looking at you with these malicious little smiles. They have sharp little beady teeth.
So coming in
and
blood,
they
did you say?
are looking at you, looking for a spoil and for a fight. Did I miss anything?
You missed Miles and Saloni have a walk around his meatworks.
Boom. Yeah, no, we're not. I don't need that mental imagery. That's gross.
Did they really look spoiling for a fight? Can I take a sense motive on that one? They
Well,
might just be having their lunch.
Were they there the whole time?
I mean,
We
they
just
could be
needed
the
to
This is the
butchers.
night shift, right?
I'm
We've
curious,
just stumbled on the night shift.
because we were down there for a little while and those goblins didn't.
Come and bother us while we were trying
Come
to pick
and
them off
bother
and
them.
stuff. Yeah.
Only when the light came up did they become revealed.
Night shift. They're having lunch.
Yeah, they're just butchers. That's what they're here for. They're just the butchers. They're just butchering the meat.
I think it's really interesting that these goblins are here because we know that there is goblin feet from that
True,
murder.
True.
that this
But we
might
also
be a
know that
lead.
goblins are, an integrated part of society in this.
They
particular culture.
are. Yeah, Master Pem next door was a upstanding citizen, well loved, beloved by all of his staff.
So we find ourselves at the bottom of this ramp. Bang! Up comes light, 10 foot of bright light, 10 foot of very dim light coming away from you. There are 2 goblins standing in at the end of this little corral section. The animals get pulled down onto hooks. They're surrounded by sort of meat hooks on the roof, and you can see them looking at you with vicious grins. One of them looks at you.
What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. More meat for the slaughter.
Do you want a mushroom?
At which point, initiatives need to be
Oh, I was
rolled.
just about to go whole Eddie Murphy on you then. Where's your supervisor?
Oh, I'm so happy right now.
Initiatives, did you say?
All right, let's hear from it, please. Flopsy, what did you get?
9.
Miles, what did you get?
21.
Reg?
13.
And can somebody please roll for Saloni?
5.
Saloni gets a 5, and we're just going to start the round the way it should be because the goblins gotcha.
Did they?
Yep. I'd just like to give you a little bit of a hint behind the screen. I'm rolling the poop dice, these blue poop dice that we've got, like the ones that we gave away, and I rolled a poop.
Yep.
Yeah, I get to go first.
You rolled the pooper.
So as the light goes on, Reggie goes, after they say, "Who are you?" after the little dialogue from the goblins.
Yep.
This isn't the thirsty camel.
All right, so combat begins. They pull up. The first thing that they do in this very first round is you see both of them grab a potion from their belt. They pop the cork and they drink said potion, staying right where they are. As soon as they drink the potion, you can see their muscles ripple. They get a little bit more beefy, and you can see these vicious smiles that they have get a little more vicious, and you can see a little bit of blood just starts to pour out of their mouths as like a little trickle of saliva, but blood starts to come out of their maws, and they look at you.
You're slaughtered now, humies.
Miles, you'll go.
Hello, sir. Would you like a mushroom?
You don't think they're in the mood to chat.
Miles is going to step behind little Reg, and he's going to cast Misfortune, and he's going to find a bit of a... He's just going to suddenly start feeling unlucky.
Okay, so you're going to look at the goblin that is on the left-hand side. So it needs to roll a will save?
Yes, please.
Okay, it starts to roll its will save, and you feel like that misfortune has gone through. That brings us to... Is that all that you're doing, Miles?
That's it, yep.
Yep, Reg, what are you up to?
Reg is going to ready an action. If they make an approach, he's going to attack once they're in range.
Okay, sure. So, Reg, you get into a combat stance.
Yep.
Waiting for them to approach, which brings us to Flopsy. Flopsy, what's your go?
Flopsy's going to first do a knowledge check both on the goblins and the potions they drank.
Sure.
Can you tell me what knowledges I should be rolling there,
The
Jesse?
first one is to identify what they are. They're goblins. You can see that they're goblins. There's nothing.
Normal goblins,
they're
nothing
just,
weird about
they're
them.
just goblins. So
Great. And then Arcana on the potion. That's 19.
19 is not enough to know what spell just went off.
Okay.
You doing anything else, Flopsy?
Yeah, Flopsy then uses those rose petals that he's got in his hand, and he blows them at those two goblins and casts a spell.
Okay. This is interesting.
Nice. I like that touch.
Make yourself I think it's a will save, my friend.
For
One.
both of them?
One is in disadvantage.
Yeah.
What's the range on this?
It just goes off behind them. 10-foot burst. Radius.
So I just rolled a will save. So the first one, the one that is misfortuned at the moment, he rolls twice. Interestingly enough, I rolled a natural 20 and I rolled a natural 17 for that one. So his will save is actually a 19. Oh, just give you a flip behind the curtain of what their will is. Ooh. And the second one rolled a 5.
So the first one saves against a sleep spell, but the second one falls asleep unless he's more than 4 hit dice.
Unless he is more than 4 hit dice.
1, 2.
So he
three.
falls immediately a slizzle. So one of the goblins just goes, boom, falls asleep straight on the floor. It comes to Salone's turn. Salone pulls out a rapier in one hand. She pulls out a dagger in the other hand, and she steps in behind you, Flopsy, and she says, Flopsy, you must get behind me if you want me to protect you. That was a good spell, by the way. Well done.
That's my job, missus.
All right, that brings us to round number 2. The one enemy that is left behind, charges straight up. So he will charge straight into your maw, Reg, as you're waiting for it.
Yep.
So your attacks almost go off simultaneously because you were waiting for him to approach. So
Sure.
just before he gets to you, make your attack roll, please.
I can't flurry I can flurry though, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Natural 20.
Yes.
Followed by a 17, which with the modifier is going to be a 23.
That will hit.
He's not denying his dex, eh?
No.
Damn it, Janet. 4 and 2 on the first hit, and then we go for the second hit. Comes in with a 14. Does that hit?
A 14 is not going to hit.
Right.
The goblin comes in and it attempts to strike back at you using this dice, rolling a fucking natural fucking 1. That dice is gone. And that will be a fuck off fumble.
Through.
There's my cackle for next round.
As he attempts to hit you, Reg, one of your strikes actually flies through in the elbow of your arm, catches his dog slicer by the side, and you kind of bend the dog slicer a little bit, rending some of the damage a little bit inert. It doesn't hit you, but you think that the dog slicer might be a little bit useless for at least a little while.
He's got to straighten out his tinfoil dog slicer.
Miles, what are you going to do?
Cackle manically at the misfortune that he just befell because of the misfortune.
Yep. Awesome. So you extend the misfortune.
And then he's going to just shoot a ghost fist sleep strike at him, trying to put him to sleep as well.
Sure.
So another will save, please.
Sure.
With disadvantage.
That's a D12 anyway. That will be a 6.
And he falls asleep.
Plump. So this goblin right in front of you, Reg, just goes, dead. And hits the floor in
He's
front
not
of
dead,
you.
is he? He's not dead?
No,
All
he
right.
says to you, dead.
Oh, right.
And then falls to the floor. So you've got 2 goblins asleep at your feet right now. You know one of them's only going to last a little while.
It's time up.
So Reg, it is not your go yet because you now move right there. Flopsy, it is your turn.
Manacles out, manacle the one that just got sleep struck.
Okay, so you take your manacles out and you move over it, put your knee on its back, start to manacle the one that just got sleep
And say to
struck.
Saloni, hey, Saloni, gag him so I can't yell.
She pulls out a rag and she will do the, she says, yes, that was efficiently done. Would you like me to take care of the one up the end?
Yes, we've got plenty of manacles.
Here, I've got some more manacles. Here you go.
So she will take the manacles off you and she kneels down and she manacles up the other one as well. She's lawful good. She's not going to kill it.
Cool. Now that we've got a bit more light in the room, can I take a perception check to see what's going on?
There's still the same amount of light that there was before. There is no extra light.
Yeah, but it was dark, then we came down, then we put
Yeah.
a light on, and then we
you've
sort of...
remember that a light spell only does 10 foot, then another 10 foot in shadow.
Okay, so I can't see diddly poop apart from the
apart from
2
what's
goblins that we
there.
put to
Yeah.
sleep. Right, cool.
Pat down these goblins.
So if you have a look in front of you, literally you can just see this straight corral
Yep.
that goes up another 20
All
foot
good.
from where they popped out around the corner.
We'll pat down these goblins.
Mm-hmm.
See
You
how they
pat
get on.
down the goblins. One of them has a horse chopper that is now bent. The other one has a horse chopper on him as well. You can find on them 2 empty potions, some studded leather armor that is pieced together. It's a bit gross and grimy. I'm not sure that you want to use that either. And you find a short bow with 20 arrows on it.
Pocket the short blow, try and put the dog slices down the grates if we can, where the blood flowed down. If we can slide those dog slices down there so they can't retrieve them, that'd be useful.
Not the bent one.
Right.
You know, you just said short blow.
Yeah. True story.
Nothing but efficient.
I believe that's Reg's new nickname, isn't it?
Short blow.
Short blow.
I just wrote short blow.
I like it when it doesn't happen just to me. It's so much more fun. So yeah, you've got a bit of a corridor ahead of you. How are you gonna keep these guys? So you gag both of these things. Are you gonna drag them out? So you're gonna leave them here? What are you gonna do?
Can we
hook them up over
Yeah.
Miles, and Miles can carry them for the rest of the way.
Can we handcuff them to the grate that we just come through?
Mm-hmm.
Handcuff them to the cows.
Handcuff them, gag them.
Sacre why did not we perhaps we could hang them from the hook?
Ooh,
That would stop them from getting away.
that's a good idea. Let's do that.
I can't reach.
I lift you up.
We can
Lift me up to lift them up. Sorry, bro.
just put them on those poles near the palisade, and then I'll undo the trap turned off.
Yeah, so Miles will pick them up and hang their manacles over the hook. And
Yeah, so just their arms or their legs, whichever way you want them. So you kind of hook them over. I'm assuming you don't use the hooks to impale their flesh,
Nope.
Yeah.
and you're just using the manacles to keep them up. So they're both. One of them wakes up and he's like, and you can still see a little bit of blood coming out of his mouth, but it's filling up the gag that's in his mouth.
just
He's
to
gonna
gloat
choke on
for a
his own
second.
blood.
Was that a combat no hits? Like
No, I hit.
No, 0 damage taken for us?
Easy.
Fucking hell, that's it. That's done. All right, what's my next character? Fucking hell. Lindsay.
Let's gloat that the third level characters managed to take the CR1 goblin out.
They are hopped up on happy juice.
Flopsy's going to pick up the empty potions and have a sniff with his alchemy and try and identify that, which he can do with his alchemical.
Sure.
He uses his craft alchemy instead
What
of
is the
detect
DC
magic.
for that when you're using? I don't know how to do that.
You can use craft alchemy to identify potions as if using detect magic. You must hold the potion for 1 round and make it a check.
Can I take a
Make
guess?
your check.
That'll be 26.
26. You think it was the spell Rage.
That's not what I was going to guess.
No, me either.
So what are you guys going to do? You can move down the corral a little bit more. You know that it bleeds off to the left-hand side.
Flopsy, do you want to stick your head around and see if it's safe to move Tippy a little bit further?
Yeah, Flopsy's going to stealth up to the corner and look around with his dark vision.
Just make a stealth roll for me, please.
13.
Flopsy, you look around the corner and that smell of blood overwhelms you. You can see a stone floor with countless faded blood stains from years of slaughter. You can see grooves cut into the floor to funnel the blood away into another room. And you can see a whole rack of what would be carving knives and implements to spread ribs and to crack bones and to saw through parts of flesh. This right here is the workroom, the blood room, as they sometimes have it. And you can see that, even the walls here are stained up to a point where at points you think it might have been ankle deep in blood before it, which is a lot of blood.
No beings, no bodies.
No, there's nothing else in this room.
Flopsy's going to wave people forward, but he's going to move up to the next little turnaround and see what he can see around the next corner, sneak around that corner.
Can I catch up with Flopsy? Because I don't want him getting...
Okay, if Flopsy, remember Flopsy's disappeared off into the darkness.
He's moved 10 feet ahead to the next little thing around the corner and waved you guys up.
Flopsy, slow down.
Yep.
All right. So you guys all catch up to where Flopsy is. Flopsy, right here, you can see down the corner as well. You can see the end of a wall. There's some type of a room to your left at the moment, and straight ahead there's another room that would sort of be revealed to you, but it goes around a bit of a dogleg corner.
So remembering Flopsy can see 60 feet in the dark, he's going to look around to the left is it his left? His right, whatever it is. Just around that little dog leg and see what else he can see.
So you're going to sneak around to...
He's going to stick his head very stealthily around that corner and just see what he can see.
Around that?
Do I hold on to your floppy tail while you're doing
I don't
this?
want the light coming with me.
I've got no light.
You can come with me.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
He's trying to just keep the dark and not get give
Cool.
us some advance warning. That's
So this is Operation Flopsy sort of...
Flopsy suicide, I think that was where you were right.
dark check Flopsy.
Right. Don't check. That doesn't say.
That's not right, is it? That came out wrong.
So this is basically, so Flopsy, you move forward, leaving the party behind.
You're only 20 foot behind me. 10 foot of bright light, 10 foot of dark light, right?
Yeah.
I'm just conscious that obviously the goblins can see in the dark. Anything else down here is likely to be seeing in the dark. If you go running up there, something happens, I can't see, I can't get to you, I can't find you.
I'm not running up ahead. I'm going here.
Cool.
Look around the corner.
Yep. I'm just saying from Reggie's point of view, having our relationship, I'm like, I feel comfortable with you in this environment on your own.
So Flopsy, you get around the dog leg and you kind of move into the shadow. Reggie, Miles, you and Saloni can see that Reggie gets a little antsy. The more that Flopsy sort of moves away, Reggie gets a little bit kind of, he starts to move and you almost have to put your hand on his shoulder to stop him from moving forward. And Flopsy, around the corner is a weird sight to you. You see a stack in the corner of just pelts, just skins, as if an animal has been pulled apart, and you can see just a stack upon stack upon stack of leather that hasn't been cured, just hides just on top of each other. You see a pile of bones in one of the other corners as well, just sitting there, and this is a macabre sight filled with horror. This room is quite large, so it takes up at about 90 feet across with the dog leg, but you can also see that there's a 10-foot opening to a chamber that is beyond, and in that chamber beyond, you can see there is a little bit of light emanating from that chamber. It is spilling through the doorway.
What can Flopsy make of the hides and the bones? Is there any kind of anything in his intelligence that might put two and two together on that?
Cowhides. So, if they're gonna slaughter, obviously they're taking the meat, and they're using the hides. There's probably a tannery somewhere down there.
So this will get shipped off to a tannery. That will get shipped off
to
a bone grinder for
that kind of stuff. Bone meal.
Yep.
Tanning. They don't just use parts of the animal.
The whole animal.
All of the animal. It's an efficient business model.
Have we seen any meat yet?
No.
Other than what the goblins were eating.
Or trying to eat, which is you. Saloni says, how dare you?
So given there's no creatures in sight but a little light, Flopsy will wave everyone up and point to the light down that corridor and motion the rest of the party on. They can see where that light is. They can get there.
Okay, so
He can't see any other creatures or anything, right?
no. So you can't see anything beyond. So you just see a light emanating from a 10-foot wide moment, and it's around the corner, so you can't see it from here. You would have to move up around the corner to see what's in the room.
But he would think anyone could go and look around that corner and see what's in that room because there's light.
Yes.
So he's not going to do that.
We need someone stealthy.
Who can see in the light.
You can see in the dark? No? All right.
All right, Flopsy will move up and look around the corner. 8 on a stealth. 8.
Flopsy, as you move closer to this room, an odor, a charnel odor of a little bit of acid, but a lot of like fat and rot and disgust assaults your nostrils. If you've ever been near a tannery, you've got that smell going a little bit. Like you think that there is something going on beyond that room. You move all the way ahead. Now, how far are you moving away from everyone? You're still staying that 20 feet away from everyone?
On the edge of the light.
Okay, so you get to the edge of the light and you poke your head into the room. You can see 2 large pits which occupy the center of this room. Each one contains a disgusting mixture of sludge, animal blood, detritus. You can see inside of them there's some of those skins that you saw from the other room have been put into this kind of sludge room. But you think that that's where all those chambers, all those little funnels in the ground, they all lead into these pits. On top of the pits, though, you can see that there is a greenish scum that seems to emanate like that smell of grossness just over the top of it. Each one of the pits has a narrow trench that connects itself to a burning furnace that is ahead of it. So there are 3 furnaces in here, and some of the sludge slowly kind of glop, glop, glop into the furnace and starts getting burnt. And so that's where some of the smell and the smoke comes from. It's very hazy in here, and there is certainly a lot of light in here as well.
That look fetid. Is that the green stuff? It's kind of rotting.
Yeah, it's gross. Yeah.
Oh, how deep is it?
Jump in and find out.
Like little channels, is it, or a deep like
giant pits? Like you were talking pits that are 20 by 10 foot.
Yeah, wow, that's big. That'd be gross.
Yeah, so they're
fed by decent amounts of
Reggie's not sure he's going to want to eat meat after this.
Hot pocket.
What are the rest of you doing?
I'm obviously waiting for Flopsy to report, I guess.
Well, there's 3 fires in here. You guys can see what's going on.
You definitely see there's a glow beyond the
doors.
Cool.
Well, yeah, Reg would have moved right up. Yeah.
Okay. Again, as soon as you move up, like the rest of the party catches up with Flopsy, you get to that area and you see that there is this room with those big vats. You also can see from where you are, like as you get a bit closer, you see to the left there's another little opening in the wall to this large room where a chamber is beyond it, and you can see beyond that chamber there's kind of a weird pulley system inside that small room. It goes about 15 foot down. This chamber with the 2 big vats in it extends itself probably 55, 60 feet across as you are looking into it. Across the way from the chamber, you've got 2 big vats with this green slime in it. You can see a doorway on one side, and then you can also, if you're looking into the room, you can see a doorway to your right as well. So there are 2 doors on the very opposite side of the chamber.
Looking at these vats, can I make a knowledge check on what do you want?
It would be a knowledge nature.
Ooh. It's my best knowledge. 22 knowledge nature to see what these are.
You think that these are waste disposal vats. So, they put all the channels of blood go in here, and they slowly go into the furnaces to get disposed of. So this is where they put like offal and all that kind of stuff that they don't need.
Reg is going to move up to the doors and listen.
Yep. Make a perception check for me, please, Reg.
Yes, I will. That's 29 on a perception.
Your perception reveals nothing other than the bubble of these big vats and these big kind of tanneries and that.
Is there enough light in here for everyone to move freely? They don't need my dark vision now.
Yeah, it is away from on the other side of the room. It gets a little bit dusky, but the room itself is light enough that everybody can jump in there and you can see.
Flopsy's going to wave everyone forward.
We all go for it.
So you move into the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, hang on. There are doors in the room, though, aren't there?
Yeah, there are two
So
doors.
I'd already. That was
There
what
are
I said,
two
I was
doors and
listening.
an open corridor.
already-
The doors are sort of around a corner from where you are, so you would have to actually move there
Yeah,
across
so
the other
sorry.
side of the room.
I assumed we were already in that space, and I moved up to those doors, and those are the ones that I did the perception check on.
Oh no, I thought you were still standing at the corridor.
No.
So
I thought I was already in there. So should we do that? Do you want me to do that again?
no, well, so you've moved into
Yeah.
the room.
Yeah.
Okay, so you move across the room, Reg, and you get to the other side. So your intent is to go and look to the doors on the
Yes.
other side.
Correct.
Everybody else sort of stays there. I'm assuming now because you've said that Reg has moved in there all by himself.
Oh, we
Yeah,
would have
because
all.
I was moving up to be with.
Yeah,
Foxy,
you've kind
knowing
of
that the light was
continued
in there,
on,
so
so
I went
you've
straight
led
in.
the way
Yep.
straight into there, and the rest of the party is a fair bit behind you. When all of a sudden, a weird-looking goblin springs from one of the shadows that you don't see. Even your perception, that was amazing, missed this goblin who was obviously lying in wait. The goblin runs at you, and as it runs at you, you can see that the goblin's jaw is cracked at a weird angle. You can see that its face is misshapen. One of its arms has a bulbous growth that is on top of it, and even as it comes to you, it kind of limps a little bit. You see like that green gas that's coming from the those pits. It starts to almost smoke out of this goblin naturally. The goblin runs at you at the same time as it attempts to bull rush you into one of the vats, getting a surprise round on you.
It's got, you don't get an attack of opportunity
What is
on a bull
yours?
rush, do you?
What is your CMD? No, he's caught flat-footed at this point too.
My CMD.
Yep, without dex, please.
For a bull rush, that is a 13 on my CMD, which is minus dex. You sure it's minus dex?
Yeah, because you caught flat-footed. So you missed this guy even in your perception check. Like I gave you that perception all the way in.
Yeah.
And you missed where this guy actually came in from. And
Hang on, you gave me the 29 and I still missed him.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, all right.
Yeah.
I was never going to see that.
Is he hidden inside a cow?
Yeah.
What was your CMB? Sorry.
CMD.
CMD. Sorry.
Was 13 if it's minus dex, as you say.
A 13 CMD. A couple of bad things happen, Reg. So this goblin,
This is your fault, Lindsay. This is because you said it was bloody easy that last combat.
This goblin, as it gets very close to you, you can see it holds up its bulbous arm, using that weight that's behind that side. That's when you see that there are little growths or like boils all over that side. Boils probably isn't the right way. It's sort of pock marks, like acid has etched itself into this. And you can see below that acid, there's some more of this green type of slime that's over the top. It bangs into you and you go flying into one of these vats. Inside the vat,
Do I not get a reflex to get out of this at all, by the way?
Nah, bull rushed you.
Bullshit.
So again, it pushes you. You go flying for a little way, landing straight into one of these vats. As soon as you hit the vat, it's the first time that you notice that green layer on top moves. All of you see it kind of move, and it bubbles up. And you see it's a slime that is actually sort of semi-alive. You fall into it and you take 4 points of damage to your constitution
Oh, fuck me.
as you go in, and there's just fetid gore and muck all over you. Everybody else, what are you going to do?
Roll initiative, I assume.
Okay, let's roll initiatives.
And I'm in the vat.
So you find yourselves in the room. Reg is in this slime. He's taken some damage. You guys are spread out a room, and you see this goblin creature sort of standing near one of these ponds after having pushed Reg in. What was your initiative, Miles?
14.
Okay, and Flopsy?
21.3.
And Reg,
12.
can somebody please roll for Saloni?
7.
You are really not rolling well
Only
for
on
Saloni.
like roll. Yeah,
I don't
my
think
other rolls I'm into.
I don't think you're her friend at all.
There wasn't a lot I could do with, like, I've got a CMD of 17, and when I lose the dex flat-footed, that really shafted me. So
Yeah. Okay, Flopsy, what are you going to do? You head up this round.
Flopsy's going to pull out some more.
And just so you know, of the 2 vats that Reg is in, he's in the furthest one away from you. So
Yeah,
as you've
course.
rounded the corner, like he was moving towards the doors on the far side, and this thing sprung out from near one of the corners near those doors. So he is currently about 20 feet away from you.
I'm going to go back to the petals and blow some more petals at this creature's face.
Mhm.
Enchanting some arcane words as
All
the
right.
sleep spell comes across it. Arcing the spell 10-foot radius so it's not to hit Reginald. Make a will save, please.
Okay. So another sleep spell goes off, does it?
Yep.
Now I've got a question for this, Brett. Can you describe what type of spell sleep is for me? What is
Yes.
it? What is it?
It is an effective
Yeah. What type of spell is it?
enchantment compulsion mind affecting.
Okay. So this creature gets washed over with this sleep spell, and you can see it kind of shake its head and just shakes it off.
Great. And then Flopsy's going to just open up the passageway for his martial friends to get in without being in the way. Move out of the way.
Okay. So you move out of the way for the martial friends. That brings us to Miles. Miles, what are you going to be doing?
Miles is going to move up to get it in range of his hex, and he's going to cast Misfortune as his opening play per usual.
Okay. So you move up. It gets
modus
a
operandi.
It gets a will save. And now Misfortune, just so we know, it's not coded for anything, is
No,
it? It's
it
just
is.
a generic. Your will is impressioning on this creature, and this creature makes a will save.
Correct. Yeah, it's very
Okay.
ambiguous.
It fails.
Yes, it does.
Okay. So the creature itself fails, and you have moved. So that took you probably about a move to get
Yeah,
there.
full 30 feet. I reckon.
Okay. Reg, you are inside a pond full of gunk and guck and horror at the moment. The top layer of it is what you think is acid. So it's the equivalent of, for people out there who are playing, of green slime. So they've got some kind of version of green slime in here that helps to take all the organic matter and process it. So it's like their waste disposal unit.
So
You're
I'm
in the junk room.
exfoliating currently. Yeah.
Yes,
so
yes.
when I get out of this, I'm going to look 20 years younger.
Yeah, it really isn't a fun thing. So, what are you going to do? Right
Get
now?
out of the pond.
Okay, can you make a climb check for me, please?
You don't want me to do an acrobatics?
No, it's a climb check.
You don't want me to do an acrobatics?
Dolphin kick your way out.
How about acrobatics, Justin?
Climb check. Sure.
Remembering that the edges of this are slimy and slippery, and this is a pretty rough roll that you're getting on the edge. You're covered in slime. The whole thing's covered in slime. It's not going to be easy to get out. What did you get?
15.
It's not enough, right?
Yeah.
It's not enough.
So that was one move action, yeah?
That was one move action.
So I can try again.
Yeah, you can try again.
Natty 19.
Ooh.
So that's going to be a 22.
22 gets you straight out of the pond. You stand up and you're about 10 foot away from this creature.
Feeling funky.
Well, not even. Sorry. When I say 10 foot, there's a 5 foot space between the two of you.
Me and the creature.
Yeah, of you and the goblin. But that is all of your moves for this round that you can do.
Sure.
That gets us to the creature himself. The creature pulls out, you can see a long sword. And you can also see in its other hand, it pulls out a hand axe. It looks at you, Reg, and it steps at you and it makes an attack with its long sword. And it fumbles. Pass me the fumble deck, please.
Every time he fumbles, I feel like
This is a win.
Yeah.
like I've never had enjoyment from someone else's fumbles before. His fumbles feel like my crits.
Do you remember at the beginning of the show, we sort of talked about like when Justin rolls like some guys that are supposed to be a little bit more powerful than usual, and then something happens, something goes wrong. I'm just going to read to you this fumble. Catastrophic failure. You fall unconscious for 1d6 rounds, will negates.
And he's got hexed.
The creature falls into the vat of acid.
That is, you couldn't write that, could you? That is fantastic.
Oh, man.
He just misses, he slips over and he just, boom, cracks his head on the side of the vat of acid and he is down for the count.
I do wonder how many of our listeners actually play D&D who have designed Lindsay's character. Lindsay's character and are equally frustrating their DMs.
No, well, see, the thing is, Lindsay's character's easy to get around. You just put ranged archers against him and he gets so frustrated that he doesn't know what to do because he can only do this within 30 feet. He also is fucking useless while he's doing this. So unless, he's got, he's got a good party around him who are actually dealing the damage.
He doesn't have a good party around and dealing damage, hey?
Oh, so you're saying I should take extended hex next feed?
You can take extended hex when you get to the appropriate level.
If.
Oh, man.
All right. So, yeah, this thing just falls bloop into that big vat and you see it sink below the vat. I mean, you know, gloops in.
Well, I'd like to save him, but there's nothing I can do. He's all the way down there.
Flopsy, I really don't feel very well.
What? Oh, can I make a heal check?
Yeah, you can make a heal check. So you move in. So yeah, Saloni moves up at that point, and Saloni, for the first time, she looks at you as well, and she kind of picks up your eyes, and you can see she does very similar things to Flopsy at this point, where she's also making a heal check on you.
Prostate exam.
There's something very wrong with you. You stink like the pig.
It would appear that your tail has been amputated. I got 9.
Shall I do a heal check on myself?
Yeah, she got less than you.
Physician, heal thyself.
I didn't even have to roll
I got a
misfortune
12.
for that one.
I read a first aid book once. 14.
Yeah, you don't feel well, and you can see that there are burn marks that are being scorched into your arms, and you're feeling pretty bad. You've got open wounds in some of the flesh areas that are exposed that have touched this acid.
But you haven't taken actual damage.
Well, no, my consciousness. Yeah, no, I've not taken any actual damage.
So Flopsy will try and prestidigitate most of that slime off him and try and, without touching him, clear him up.
Yep. So you cast prestidigitation, and over the course of a couple of rounds, it takes a little while.
Yep.
The slime starts to fall off you and starts to form a pool on the floor. So let's say that takes, by the time you've done the heal, Saloni's going to be with you doing the heal check and kind of helping scrape off some of that. Miles, are you going to be doing anything during this time?
Is there any poles or anything around?
This is not the time to be dancing. Miles.
You don't see any poles in this room. This room is really just, there's channels that come from under the floor of the slaughter room, and they all form into these vats, and these vats have these slimes over the top of them that then channel into the furnaces.
Okay, I'll just do a perception check of the room, like have a quick search of around the room for anything useful or whatever.
I can't help but feel that we've come into this place and we're actually just killing off the workmen.
17 in perception.
We've killed no one.
A 17. Yeah, you're starting to look around. I mean, it takes more than one perception check, but you do that for a little while and you start looking around. You examine one of the furnaces. You examine the second furnace. You're looking into the slime pit. You are looking into the second slime pit at the same time as you see a bubble come from it within. The slime in the pit moves, and this melted face of a goblin starts moving straight out. You can see longsword pitted a little bit as the acid has moved it. A hand axe also pitted as as it is being almost eaten away by this acid, but it's covered now in the acid, and it emerges from the top of the slime. You don't think this is the end of this creature at all. As a matter of fact, inside that vat, it looks like it is actually a little bit at home.
Oh.
And we'll do this next time.
Oh, I was going to say we haven't killed anyone yet.
I laugh in its face.
So can you keep misfortune it again, or is that one a day?
Well, I don't know how long, if that was in the 6th set. Where did we lose turns?
Well, heals at least a round.
All right, then, yeah.
He was unconscious in that pool for a couple of rounds as well.
I don't know, misfortune's gone, unfortunately.
It's not right.
dicey question was actually inspired by a conversation.
Conversation.
Combine harvester.
Yeah.
I got a brand new combine harvester.
And I'll give you the key. Boom,
Boom, boom, boom.